Whatever.
Hey everybody, what's up? It's your girl BondyBlue. So let's go ahead. Let's go ahead. Hey everybody, what's up? It's your girl BondyBlue. Okay, follow me on Instagram and let's get into the video, right?
Hey everybody, what's up? Happy Saturday. We are back for another Now That We're Grown. Let me go ahead and put it up. Hold up. No, that's not right. Yeah, I just literally put this overlay in and now it's not there. Why do these things happen to me? Okay, hold up. I could have sworn I slid it in right at the top. Anyway, how y'all doing? There we go. Okay, now that we're grown, poetic justice girl. Okay, there were so many movie recommendations for me, and this is the one that I actually felt like watching. Like this past few months, I have not wanted to do content that doesn't feel good to me. It's just the space that I'm in. So I have to feel the need to want to talk about something. I have to feel the need to want to watch it. Like, I'm not forcing myself to digest content for the sake of making content anymore. I don't really think I was ever doing that, but the things I am interested in are changing. Shit, as I'm getting older, girl. And I'm so glad that I decided to do Now That We're Grown because, girl, I watched this back and it's so disrespectful, yo. Yo, Poetic Justice is one of the most disrespectful ass black movies, like for real. Like it's disrespectful for so many reasons. First of all, it's an amazing movie. Like I want to get that straight out the gate. It's literally one of my favorites. Okay, because of the soundtrack, the people in it, the storyline, like how you get wrapped up in it. I love being able to get wrapped up in what I'm watching, and I always get wrapped up in Poetic Justice. But when I watch this back as a grown adult woman, 35 years old child, okay, next month, God willing, okay, in 2023, the year of our Lord, I was like, these because they lost their mind. I was like really reminded why I'm so glad that I don't deal with certain things. Like I don't deal with certain types of people. And it's because I will go to jail. I will go to y'all are not gonna talk to me like this. You're not gonna talk to me crazy like this and then think you're gonna put your hands on me. And then y'all act like the women are the messed up ones. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like to some point. Hold up, y'all. My glasses. I gotta wipe them off. To some degree, in Poetic Justice, it feels like these are the women who end up sometimes getting men killed. And I feel like it's such bullshit because the women are like dealing in circumstance a lot of the time. And the men are like actively acting out their anger towards everybody they're around. And then as soon as somebody says something or responds, then they fucked up. Y'all, I'm sorry. Is it just me? Is it just me? Talk to me. Everybody that has seen Poetic Justice a whole bunch of times, if you have watched this shit recently, the way Tupac called everybody a black bitch over and over again, it's like, sir, it is not our fault that your mama is mean to you, sir. It is not our fault that she curse you out and talk to you crazy at the house because she low-key mad that your old ass is still living with her. Like, that's what it felt like, y'all. It felt like Lil Lucky, yeah, Lil Lucky is working a job, but he live at home with his mama. He got a hood rat pregnant. Okay, she over there basing. He gonna bring the baby home to his mama. Meanwhile, his mama like, put the cigarette out, Lucky. You know I don't like no smoking here. Oh, mama, I pay the bills around here. I can't smoke it. Oh, shut the fuck up and put the cigarette out. Do you know why? Because at the end of the day, the mama's still a nurse. The mama is still the person that owns this house. And if you want to smoke cigarettes in your house, get your own fucking house. Like, y'all, I really felt like a lot of this movie was Lil Lucky being both coddled and talked down to at the same time. So what ends up happening? You got all of this verbal aggression towards every woman you meet, specifically if she ain't giving you no play, which is so ridiculous when you think about it. Like, nigga, you is mad, disrespectful because the lady don't feel like talking to you, sir. Like, what is going on? And then this turns into a fucking love story. This nigga been disrespecting women a whole movie and this shit turned into a love story. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Okay? Child, it felt like the prequel to Baby Boy. Child, that is so sad if that's what happened. But let's go ahead and get into it, y'all. Make sure y'all like the video, share the video, tell everybody we on YouTube right now. Y'all know how this goes. People don't get the notifications on time all the time. So y'all make sure y'all like the video so that it tells YouTube that we got something going on right now. Make sure y'all subscribe to my channel. Y'all know I'm like less than 500 to 100K. And I'm almost to 99,600. So, subscribe, share. Thank you. Okay. So, we're going to start off at the beginning. So, you don't often see a movie within a movie, but Poetic Justice starts off with a movie within a movie. Poetic Justice within itself is just a deep-ass movie. This is a John Singleton movie. And I want to say, I love the fact that I got a chance to talk to him before he passed, because I reviewed one of his shows on BET and he called, emailed and called and all of this shit. And I love that because I literally grew up on this man's movies since I was a child. Like Boys in the Hood was one of the first movies that me and my older cousins used to watch together all the time, knew by heart, would have arguments about what was said, the dialogue, or we got to go back to the house and watch it on a lunch break because I need you to hear that part. Shout out to my cousin Bataya. Okay, so yeah, it's it is very deep in the energy, the John Singleton movies, baby. So I go up for him. So R.I.P. John Singleton, such a blessing in my life that I have that connection to somebody that meant so much to me that I had never met and got to meet him before they passed away. And just was you love what you do and just like, oh my God. So I wish I would have recorded that conversation, but you be trying to be cool about shit. But anyway, a movie within a movie, Deadly Diva, with Billy Zane and Lori Petty. And y'all, I feel like black people knew who these white people were. Especially Lori Petty. It's just sometimes weird when you see known white actors in black people's movies like this. So it always make you feel like those people must be cool as fuck in real life. I don't know why black people adopt this mindset whenever we see white people in black spaces, but that's just how it goes. So I can remember feeling like, child, you already know, we couldn't stand Billy Zane in Titanic, but people have often questioned his ethnicity. Especially once he cut all his hair off. Everybody was like, nah, it ain't all white. We don't know, but it ain't. And I love Lori Petty ever since A League of Their Own, okay? So yeah. And then she was, what was the other movie where she went around killing everybody? I forgot what it was called. Some weird ass 90s movie. But anyway, Lori Petty was that girl for a minute. But anyway, so yes. Everybody's down to the drive-in movie. It's packed. And I love this because we never, by the time I came of age, the time this movie came out, there were no drive-in movie theaters in New Orleans anymore. I pretty much assume that they shot them up. I don't know. But that seems to be what happened here in LA, okay, in Los Angeles. Because every time you turn around, somebody fighting, okay, or you hear gunshots and you don't know whether it's from the movie or whether it's happening out here amongst the people, okay? And then another thing I noticed is how childlike, this was a real look at the psyche of black men, young black men specifically. So let me get into it, but they're so childlike, yet they make these decisions that are grown man type of decisions, decisions that should be taken heavily and thought about thoroughly. Murdering somebody shouldn't be something that you just decide to do while you was playing, Street Fighter. You know what I'm saying? Like, nigga was like playing Street Fighter. Oh, that's that nigga who was talking shit at the mall. Oh, we should run down on him. Like, y'all, that's insane. That's insane to want to kill somebody because of some shit they talked. But Tank Girl, thank you. Thank you. It was Tank Girl. Thank y'all so much for that. Y'all know that they be aggravating me when I can't think of shit. So thank you. But yes. So Justice is in the back of the car with her drug dealer boyfriend, girl. And everybody know in the 90s, okay, it was a thing to be a drug dealer girlfriend. Even if you wasn't the type to do it. Because there were a lot of girls that came from good households, but they weren't going to mess with men that could not, provide for them to the level they were used to being provided for. And they may not necessarily be attracted to the Carlton niggas they grew up around, okay, for lack of a better term, because it's not always like that. But I feel like that was the vibe, of the young woman who comes from something but still ends up being a drug dealer girlfriend with her bamboo earrings and shit, okay? And yeah, it was Q-Tip and he was cute or whatever. It was a vibrant thing. And she asking him why he loved her. And he says, because she's so fine. And she like, okay, fine, because I'm fine. And it's like, yeah, you hate that, right? Like, as a woman, especially like if you're a deep woman, you didn't assess all of the things you like about this nigga and can probably tell it to him very easily. But then when you ask them what they feel about you, they come at you with all of this physical shit. And it's like, okay, so you're not taking me seriously and you're not thinking about me as deeply as I'm thinking about you. It's an aggravation, okay? So she like, man, look, go get me some snacks. Because you trying to hunch on me and the shit you saying is not going to get you hunched on. So go get me some snacks. Okay, child? Child, okay, listen. It's a familiar feeling, Jesus. So he's about to go get the jujubes and the bonbons. And then he stops and he comes back and he says, the real reason why I love you, Justice, is because when I was locked up in county, you sent me all of those dope poems. And she smiled because that meant something. That meant that the effort she gave him was appreciated the way she wanted it to be. It gave him what it needed to give him, which meant something to her to be able to, pull him up when he was in there. As a young Black woman growing up, it is always impressed upon us that we need to be having all of this grace and pulling these niggas up whenever they get caught in these situations. It always feels like it's our responsibility to be some fucking emotional mental muse for you while you go through your bullshit. Like, that's what it feels like, right? So her writing the poetry to keep him lifted, now they together out and she got to ask him how he feel about her and he gives her a bullshit answer first. Shit. But coming back with a good answer still is coming back with a good answer, okay? Because the Black girl gonna appreciate it either way. Shit. So he goes to get the snacks and this is when the crazy niggas, one of the dudes actually ended up dying in real life because he played that character so often on these movies that he became that person in real life. That's another thing you got to be very careful of when you're an actor, is falling so deeply into the roles you play that you forget who you are. That's why it's like when you do that type of work, you got to stay grounded in the things that make you you. Because that's why it takes, a while for actors to go on to another project sometimes if they play like a real, role. Y'all know, shout out there. The homeboys, the nigga saw him, recognized him as the nigga talking shit at the mall in front of his homeboys. He thought he was the shit. A fight breaks out as Laura Petty is shooting Billy Zane. So there's violence on the screen. There's violence happening in real life. And now there's actually about to be real violence happening in this moment. Not just a fight, but they're going to go and basically blow this man's brains out at the damn drive-in movie theater. Insane shit, bruh. And they were playing a video game. And one of the dudes wasn't even convinced that it was him. But the other one was like, nah, that's him, so we got to do it. So when Tip goes back to the car, okay, when Markel gets back to the car, he says, he goes to tell Justice, hey, I think I just saw them fools I had beef with at the mall, but she's sitting in the back seat about to pull shit off because he said the right thing. to get hunched. It's all about saying the right thing to get hunched, okay? And he said the right thing. So she's pulling shit off. And in this moment of her being, and this is another thing, always with the, and this could just be me, but it often feels like there are certain energies attached to Black women. And in this environment, it absolutely felt like, oh, he was killed. Yeah, but he was in jail. Right? Yeah, he was killed by a white supremacist bunkmate in prison. Yeah. I feel like I remember that part. But I also remember like that life turning into a real thing for him. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, which is why he ended up in jail. But whatever. So it often feels like Black women are put in the role of the party that's responsible for why this happened. And I think that's the part of this that we don't talk about. We don't talk about the part of poetic justice where justice is grieving for so long because she felt responsible for why he was killed. Because when you look at it, he knew something was wrong and they should leave. But because she's taking her clothes off, he's now distracted. And because he's distracted, he gets shot in the fucking head right in front of her. And if she had not been in the back seat pulling her clothes off, they might have just pulled off, even though they might have just pulled off quicker. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure that that's what she was thinking about as the years go on or time goes on after his death. Because they never really explained what the time frame was, in case unless I missed it. But I don't think they talked about the time frame between, where we catch her going on this trip to Oakland versus when Markel dies, okay? Because it almost seemed like she had the same damn braids in, like the shit wasn't even that long ago, okay? But I know hair school takes a long time, but she could have already been in hair school, girl. We don't know. We didn't get a lot of backstory, which is another thing about this movie that sometimes annoyed me, is that there were moments that should have been explored or talked about, or, we should have just had something else happen in that moment to, I don't know, like dig deeper. And I'm gonna give y'all another moment in a minute, but do me a favor and like the video. Okay, I just wanted y'all to like the video. Okay, so where was I? So yes, as I said, y'all, Markel gets shot right in front of her. I mean, devastating, okay? Like, it was a very, child, I'm sorry, y'all. The window is right here, so sometimes shit be flying inside the window and sometimes shit be flying outside the window and I get distracted. Sorry. But it's so pretty outside. I wanted to be able to see the sky. All right. So after, he passes away, Justice goes to hair school, all while grieving. And then they recite the Alone poem by Maya Angelou. Bro, I have to recite this poem to y'all because this used to be one of my favorite poems back in the day. And also because, like, y'all know I like to do extra shit, so fuck with me or don't. Lying thinking last night how to find my soul a home where water is not thirsty and bread loaf is not stone. I came up with one thing and I don't believe I'm wrong, that nobody but nobody can make it out here alone. Alone, all alone. Nobody but nobody can make it out here alone. There are some millionaires with money they can't use. Their wives run around like banshees. Their children sing the blues. They've got expensive doctors to cure their hearts of stone. But nobody, no nobody can make it out here alone. Alone, all alone. Nobody but nobody can make it out here alone. Now if you listen closely, I'll tell you what I know. Storm clouds are gathering. The wind is gonna blow. The race of man is suffering and I can hear the moan. 'Cause nobody but nobody can make it out here alone. Alone, all alone. Nobody but nobody can make it out here alone. And I feel like the poem hit the head on the nail. Like it hit, the head on the nail. Or the nail on the head, child, whatever. Because that poem exemplifies the reason why we are in the toxic relationships we are in. The reason why we hold so hard onto the things that hurt us, the people that hurt us, the situations. We repeat them over and over again. And it is because simply nobody but nobody wants to make it out here alone. And so we deal with things that we shouldn't deal with for the fear that we'll end up being alone. And that's really like a huge thing in our community. It's not even just a feeling of alone, but it's the feeling of sadness. I was watching Real Wayani's video, and she was talking about how she feels like the Black community has a sex addiction. And I feel like, I don't know if we have a sex addiction as much as anytime you make something taboo, it makes it like, it makes it a bigger deal than it should be. And I also feel like white people have their, sexual proclivities as well. Just because they don't talk about it in public forums doesn't mean that they're not talking about it in private, or they're not acting it out in very weird ways. Okay. So I thought about that. But what I really feel is that when people are greatly oppressed, and when people are deprived of positive feelings or outcomes in their life and in their environment, in their community, when things don't feel good, people need to feel good physically. If you can't mentally or emotionally feel good, then you're gonna want to feel good physically. That's why people smoke, drink, and screw, because it feels good physically. So if everybody's fucked up emotionally and mentally because of the state in which our community is in, the way we relate to each other, the oppressiveness of our communities, then we only want to feel good. And in a community that allows you to be involved in sex the way it does, obviously it's not just us. White people, Madonna had to put her pussy on Front Street before the Black girls could do it, to be very clear. Even though other Black women had to make those strides in order for it to really take place, but white people had to be okay with over-sexualization of themselves first before we could be invited into the party to jump on screen in a sexualized manner. The idea that simply because Black people showcase things in a more elaborate way in every way possible does not mean that we didn't get a lot of the shit that we have is, an issue in this community from white people. It's just that we're not allowed to look at it the same way. White people create all kind of fucking television shows. We've been watching shit, people fucking on Cinemax and HBO since we was kids. You think it was a Black person that decided to put all of that shit on television when we was growing up? I'm just saying, like, the sexual part, the porn industry, all of that shit, that's not Black people. We can't even get y'all to give us our own category without putting white people in it. Just saying. So ultimately, I feel like it's the way you think about it. I personally believe there's nothing wrong with your interest in sex. Like, I think it's a natural part of life. I think that sex is a way, it's an energy situation. It's a vibe. It's all of that. But there are ways to manifest through sex. There are, like, sex is a portal. It's not just a physical movement of rubbing your pelvis with somebody. Like, it has so much other shit involved in it. A lot of people have portals through sex. And what I mean is they'll have sex with somebody and come out on the other side of the sex different than they were before in some capacity. And that's because sometimes the way we grow is also through sex. But because we have such a weird relationship with it in this country because of the puritanical mindsets and oppressed on us, come on, okay? Because of those things, we don't have the education, we don't have the mindset, and we don't have the positive energy around sex in order to give people space to figure their shit out in a healthy manner. We tell them no, 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 and so then that turns it black market. Like, I know nobody wants to understand that, but it's the same thing as like drugs. If you can't get it at the store, you're gonna go on a corner where you can get knocked over the head in order to get it. You see what I'm saying? So people are gonna be looking to talk about have sex, see sex. It's just a natural part of life for humans, as far as I'm concerned, to be interested in sex. It's how we are created. It feels good. It has all of these emotional attachments to it that make you feel good. It releases endorphins. Like, at the end of the day, sex is not a bad thing, but it's the way we think about it. It's the way we don't want to educate ourselves on it. It's the way we are scared to talk about it. It's the way we have to make everything taboo that we don't want to deal with, even though it's a fact of fucking life. It's tiring. It's tiring. So there's a level of promiscuity or Jezebel or yo pussy caused this type of vibe that a lot of Black women, I think, hold in our community and in our environment. That our sexuality, us embracing our sexuality, enjoying it, is the cause of men being distracted and not being able to do what they have to do. That's the energy imposed on the women, as far as I'm concerned. So when she jumps in the back seat and then his brain get blown, like, I feel like it's almost like a reinforcement of that feeling, and it's done in such a subtle underlying way that we don't even have to talk about it. It's just kind of emotionally understood. That's crazy. That's crazy. Because ultimately, the nigga that decided to go kill somebody because they talk shit to them at the mall is the reason why Markel ended up dead. But as clear as that is, we all still caught and felt the feeling of justice's guilt of this trope, this, archetype in our community that's, impressed on young Black women that accept or indulge or enjoy their sexuality. Come on now. So the police are constantly frisking the men on the street. Okay. And I thought this was funny, like, not funny, but very interesting that throughout the movie, and specifically during this time in LA, this monologue of doing the Alone poem, you constantly see young Black men being, frisked, made to lay on the ground on the street. Like, that was happening in several different places as she's like going to the shop outside Jesse's. You know what I'm saying? Leaving one place for another, you would see this. And everybody, back then, you felt like, man, they always fucking with somebody. That's so messed up. But then fast forward to Tupac, to Lucky, leaving work and going to see about his kid by his baby mama house, pulling up on the homeboy, the one who used to always have the pacifier in his mouth back in the day. Okay, listen. The homeboys was all the same in all of the movies and shit. Okay. Shout out to John Singleton for rehiring, the same men over and over again to help them, get out. Because those were some real, like, street dudes that he gave jobs to, trying to help them get out of it. You know what I'm saying? So I remember they were all in a car together. The homeboy rose up on Lucky. Hey, what's up? You know what I'm saying? And he was like, what y'all up to? He was like, on some real shit, looking for some busters to jack, and pulls his gun out. So it's like, we supposed to be mad at the police. Right. It's Rodney King era. Don't get me wrong. Y'all feel me on this. Okay. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's such a weird space to be in, where you clearly see the community being totally fucked over by the young Black men in the community. But then you also see how the police are harassing people even when they have nothing to do with the shit. Boys in the Hood was a prime example. Yeah, the homeboys is doing all of this shit, but it's Ricky and what you call them, that get posted up by the police officer talking about, I hate y'all black skin and all of that, black as fuck. I hate your black gums. I hate the back of Forrest Whitaker's neck. Ugh. I'm sorry, y'all. Y'all know the parody of the movies kind of clicks in. I'm sorry. Shout out to the Wayans brothers, bro. Oh, God. Thank you, Cosmic Carbon, to the Sun Goddess. For the super chat, Bondy, you're absolutely correct. The behaviors that we are displaying, we've learned this ideology from the others, and we know who the others are. Okay? I love that, Abby. But yes. Okay, I don't think it's something that we can make like a black issue exactly, when it's something I feel like we've learned from being over sexualized and poked and prodded by other people. Like if you think about it, and I'm gonna just use this for an example right quick, and I'm gonna get back into it, y'all. But when I think about it, like in Africa, women were walking around without covering up certain parts of their bodies, not because something's wrong with them or because they just out here naked. Like, no, it's hot. And we haven't sexualized breasts because they're supposed to be there to feed babies. They're not sexualized. Men are like, they're not for the men, they're for the children. So it's not thought about like, oh, cover up. I also want to remind y'all of that whole Garden of Eden story about how everybody was walking around naked until the serpent showed up and they ate the fruit. And then all of a sudden they feel shame of their nakedness. But before they ate the fruit from the snake or whatever the fuck, they were naked and they didn't think anything of it. The duality of that has always, gave me an aha moment when it comes to like the religion thing. Cause I think sometimes y'all think y'all be like, doing shit, but you be telling on yourself. Like sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Like you be telling on yourself, because I feel like you basically maligned black people in Africa for not feeling shame of their bodies, and then made them feel shame of it, and then gave them religion like you were of God and you knew right and they needed to cover up. But it's literally in the book that you gave them that the devil is the one that makes you feel shame of your body. Yeah, that shit crazy as hell. I'm sorry, y'all. I don't know if y'all caught me on that one, but I feel like okay. Like, yes. Listen, come on, Kiki Star. You picked it up. You picked it up, but I'm just saying, just think about that shit. And then what did we do? Even though the serpent was the one that, came and did it, who did we blame for that? The women. Telling on themselves and blaming women. Come on, people. Come on, people in my comments today. Y'all better be up and awake in this damn video, okay? Like the video, y'all. So, Justice goes to work at Jesse's. Okay, Jesse's, we do hair. And let me tell y'all something. Jesse's salon is the shit. If you don't know about a 90s salon, if it's the shit, it's got machines for coke and for food and shit. And she had the machines in there. But they don't always be full, because then people that come into black neighborhoods don't always come the way they're supposed to come to the white neighborhoods. So sometimes your machine ain't full all the way. Okay? So you got to have your Coke machine and your candy machine, and you got to have somewhere for the kids to be. My mama didn't have nowhere for the kids to be, but her kid was here, so that meant your kid could be here. Just make sure you watching your kid. But there was never a sign on the door that said, no, if your child not being serviced, your child can't come. That's why my mama shop was packed all the time, because it was like, girl, you need your hair done. My child here too. Come get your hair done. Okay, you got my money, come get your hair done. You know what I'm saying? But the whole playroom for the kids, it should let you know that Jesse's shop was the shit. Okay? Listen, then Doughboy from Boys in the Hood. Jessie come walking in her red dress, fine as wine, okay, with her cute little personalized license plate on her Get It Girl car. See, say what you want to, but Jessie was giving us the blueprint. Because Justice was coming running over to Jessie asking what happened last night, because Jessie and her man went to the Snooty Fox, mirrors on the ceilings, okay? Listen, got her back blown out, sent his ass on his way, and then showed up to her business on time looking fabulous, sending Doughboy down to the corner store to get a honey bun and okay, and a Coke. All right? Girl, listen. Y'all know I grew up in a 90s hair salon, child. So, and then our hair salon was in a double. So it was like smaller. But, so that meant it was like more communal. Child, like the big moments in television, like on black shows. I remember being in my mom's shop and everybody being glued in at the same time and having the same reaction with like 20 other grown women when Whitley turns around and says, yes, absolutely. And everybody in shop. Ah! Listen, okay, when Max, because my mama used to, y'all, when I tell y'all my mama shop was the shit back then, my mama's shop was such the shit that there was another hair salon literally next door to my mama's shop, and both of their shops was always full. Both of their shops had multiple stylists in them, and they were on the same block for years. Okay, and it was never an issue. I used to go over there all the time because sometimes they would have braiders, and my mom didn't do braids. My mom was soft style. Okay, you want your hair to be healthy, okay, you come to my mama. Okay, so not, I'm just saying, like, that was her thing. Her hair salon back then was called Feels Like Silk. Okay, and that was the whole thing. Child, hoes hated on me from elementary school to high school because my roller wrap was always moving. Okay, it was giving Khadijah. Okay, but the energy in old school hair salons was the shit, and I feel like we didn't know that wasn't gonna be a thing. You know what I'm saying? Like 20, 30 years later, we didn't know that was going to be for that time like that. So when I'm watching it back this time, I really had appreciation for it. You know what I'm saying? Mickey Howard picking up the phone. Jesse's, we do hair. Listen, oh Lord, Mickey Howard's face was everything during this time period, girl. I mean, she's still beautiful, but oh Lord, the close-up of a Mickey Howard in some 90s makeup, which is, like soft with a good red lip, bitch, okay? The hair salon was everything. The vibe of the hair salon was everything, okay? And so, because this is the hair salon where everybody, come to, you got the drug dealer coming in with his girlfriend. Okay, so my girl need her hair and her nails did. Did she have an appointment? Nah, she ain't got no appointment. And that mean I got the money to pay for y'all to get this shit done right now. Okay? Listen, okay? Jessie points out how Justice is all in her business, but she's not, taking care of herself. Girl, look at your braids. You walking around wearing black all the time, but you still in mourning. It's obvious that you ain't giving up no coochie. Okay? Child. Look, another display of obviously a woman isn't happy if she don't have no dick in the vicinity. Okay, child, y'all need to learn how to masturbate and have a nice day. Because even though I understand, I get it, child, everybody enjoys sex. But the idea that women are the ones that have to have these bad attitudes unless somebody is bending their ass over, it just kind of feel like, girl, get a vibrator and chill out. Which reminds me, I have to go to my P.O. box today. I got a new toy. I didn't buy a new toy. Shout out to Shop SEDURE. The link is down below in the description box to Shop SEDURE. But I'm going to pick up a little mini magic wand. I can't wait to try it. Okay, so yes. Learn how to masturbate, women, so y'all can stop being so, like, angry if you're not getting no dick. Okay, get you a dick with a suction cup and get some lube that's not silicone lube, because you're gonna use it in the shower or something like that, and they say that you're not supposed to use silicone lube on silicone products. I learned that the other day on Bedroom Candy Instagram Live. Okay, but y'all need to get that together. So here comes Lucky the Postman, child. Here comes Tupac. Y'all, I hate this for me because to this day, bruh, to this day, y'all. To this day, like I had a crush on Tupac from the first time I saw him to the day, you know what I'm saying, to today. Okay, and I'll have it tomorrow. Like, I hate the fact that this man died, so that I did not have an opportunity to find a way to meet this man. Okay, because I feel like if Tupac was still alive, Tupac would have went vegan. Tupac would still, be doing yoga. He would be like the real version of Omarion. You know what I'm saying? He just wouldn't have locks. He would still be bald. He would still look the same. He will only come and do music every now and again. You would think it's like seeing Jesus if he comes to perform. Like, I always think about if he was still alive, like how he would have been. And I feel like I probably would have went out of my way to find a way to meet that man in my 20s. If he was still alive, okay? I would have found a way, bitch. The way I done met people that I never thought I would meet, that I grew up loving. Okay, the way I'm just saying, the way I have talked to and met people that I grew up loving as a child, I really do feel like I could have made that happen for myself. Oh my God. So, like, y'all understand how his personality in this movie is so annoying to me. His personality is trash. Trash, I tell you. Trash. Okay? Yes, Andre 3000 vibes. Yes. Because I ain't gonna lie, whenever I do pop out and see Andre 3000, I say, I swear to God, that nigga know he probably can fuck. Andre 3000 whole body. You be catching him out. Then they got on overalls and shit. All of the gravity is right here. Okay, just somewhere playing the flute. Like, okay. I was just like, oh my God. Oh my God. Ice Cube was supposed to play Lucky, but turned down the role. He would have probably played the role like well. Cause he also had that, to him. You know what I'm saying? That would have, I think the softness, it would have pushed him as an actor. And I don't think he was ready to be outside of that. Pac was different because Pac started out intellectual. Pac started out with not just, he was an artist. He was artistic. He was in theater. Like, we know that Pac didn't start out being like no street dude or promoting that in his art at first. That wasn't the intention behind it. You know what I'm saying? It became that, but it wasn't the intention. So there was a level of Tupac that felt like Tupac could do whatever he want to do, and we just gonna go along with it. Like that was kind of the vibe that Tupac gave. Very, very strong type of energy. Like, even today, niggas try to act like a nose ring, is feminine. Where when Tupac did that back in the day, everybody was just like, oh, this nigga with this nose ring. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, the energy that he gave definitely fit that role a little bit better, because I feel like it took a long time for me to realize how much of an asshole Lil Lucky Lawrence is. Okay, his real name. I know there's a documentary coming out about his mom. And I want to see it. Honestly, I feel like to have a story like that from your mother to the son, to be epic like that, like, that's a story that should like transcend time. You know how you hear stories about dynasties and families that have all of these, things happen in their line? I feel like that's one of them stories where you have two very prolific people, mother and son, and at different parts of their lives be extremely influential in the landscape of their community. Like, that's crazy. So yeah, I definitely want to see that documentary. So Lucky comes in, Lucky the postman, okay? His idea of flirting was pointing out that Justice must not have a man because she never smiles. See, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about, y'all. How is it, do you think that this woman is minding her business? Okay, first of all, she's not a bitch. She's depressed and she's in mourning. And she's just existing in the salon, at her job, licking fucking stamps. And here come Lucky, smiling because she's attractive, and because she's not responding to his smile, now he's going to offend her by saying she must not have a man because she don't never smile. Because obviously the only reason a woman would smile is because she's getting her back bent. Y'all are exhausting. The conversation then works its way into, so you want to smell my punani? And she was like, come here, let me tell you something, because I'm tired of fucking around with you. Okay, you want to smell my punani? And then she says, Jesse, this fine dog brother said he want to smell my punani. And Jesse said, punani. And she said, what you think I should do? And so Jessie leans forward and she goes, so what do you think? Yo, that shit was so funny. And then you know what he does? Crazy black bitches. Yo, that's offensive as fuck to me. I'm sorry. But like, I just want everybody to understand what happened in this moment. He didn't get attention, so he tells her she must not have a man. She's now offended, and she know he want to fuck her, so she called a homegirl over to mess with him a little bit. He then turns around and calls them crazy black bitches. Y'all gonna leave black women alone. Cause I'm so tired of y'all. Cause this is the type of shit that we deal with all the time. Niggas walking up to you talking about why you not smiling. Nigga, why you not smiling? Get the fuck out of my face with that. Like, always this entitlement that a woman should be responding to you in a way to make you happy. And that is extremely exhausting for you to feel like that. For you to feel like everything a woman does should be to cater to some man's emotions or feelings is exhausting and crazy as hell to me. Please fucking stop. And then you disrespect us, call us out our names when we don't act the way you want us to act. And when we pop back, then we're the ones with bad attitudes. We're the ones that can't control our anger and all of that shit. After you've disrespected us for simply minding our fucking business. It is insane. Oh my God. Lucky goes to the mailroom. He's talking to his homeboy, Chicago. Okay, and his coworker about how he's being passed up. Well, Chicago's talking about how he's being passed up on mail carrier, and they got him sorting shit with these fucking Mexicans. It's a lot of prejudice going on. lot of prejudice. Okay, the racism is killing me. Lucky asked for Chicago to hook him up with one of his crazy ass girls, homegirls. Why she got to be crazy? Like, she an alcoholic, yes, but do you see what I'm saying? Like, he doesn't really talk about any woman without saying something negative. And that's crazy to me. So Lucky goes to see his kid, okay, his little girl Keisha, by his baby mama's apartment. And he runs into some of the homeboys from the streets. They tell him they looking for some busters to jack. They also say another homeboy just got killed and they're going to get the fools that got him. And then so we go on this cycle of y'all deleting yourselves over and over again and finding a way to blame it on somebody being a single mother. He hollers at his baby mama's other baby daddy, okay, Tone Loc, okay, J-Bone. Child, rest in peace. Oh my God, I just remembered that Tone Loc passed away, this last year, 2022, 2021? From COVID complications, I feel like. Either way, y'all, R.I.P. But J-Bone, I always loved Tone Loc back in the day because of his voice. Like, he was just always so cool to me. That nigga just always had on sunglasses and was just real cool for no reason. Like, I loved it. But J-Bone is a drug dealer, okay? Lucky is the only one around there with an honest job, okay? Lucky is there to give Keisha some money, and J-Bone says that he ain't got to do nothing for him, okay? He'll take her down to the swap meet and get her whatever she need. And Lucky says, look, nigga, I don't need you to be doing nothing for my daughter. That's my daughter, okay? That's your son, and that's my daughter. And J-Bone said, what you mean? She be calling me daddy sometimes. Fuck you mean she be calling you daddy sometimes? And then they running up the stairs to go and ask Lil Bitty Keisha who's really her daddy, as if we don't know. Y'all know how immature that is? First of all, wait, it's not Tone Loc. Who is it that passed in? Oh, I'm confusing Tone Loc with Tiny Lister. My bad, y'all. My bad. Confusing. I'm sorry. It's the movies. The movies are going back and forth. My bad. Not Tone Loc. I don't want to put that on him. I'm sorry, y'all. My bad. I confused Tone Loc with Tiny Lister. And y'all gonna understand why I did that. Y'all know them niggas look alike. Stop playing with me. Anyway, it was a mistake. I want everybody to calm down. But anyway, everybody's a drug dealer. Okay, so J-Bone is a drug dealer. Okay, I meant Tiny Lister, y'all. Not y'all naming all of the other ones. Jeez, we done lost so many people. I got confused myself. My bad, y'all. My bad. Yeah, Debo. I meant Debo, y'all. My bad. They do look alike. Okay, now come on, y'all. Don't do me like that. It was an accident. Y'all gonna make me take this video down and then cut that part out? Okay? My bad. The breakdown of Lucky just struck a nerve. My cousin is dealing with a guy like him. Oh my God. They do look alike. I know they do. They both had the long face, especially like when they got older. I feel like they looked more alike when they were older. Yamp, young tramp, nigga. Follow the zip codes essay. Okay, listen. Anyway, so they get upstairs and Lucky says, they both. No, I think it was J-Bone that said they both got kids for the same tired ass hooker. Angel, the baby mama, comes out trying to clean up, looking nervous, and Lucky asks if she been basing. And Bone swear that if she was doing something, he would know. And I'm like, how would you know? How would you know if she was doing something? Lucky then sitting there watching cartoons with J-Bone and the kids. J-Bone got called down for somebody that wanted to buy some drugs. And he finds a pipe. And so he goes into her room and she laying on some nigga lap. And the dude was like, get the fuck out of here. She was like, oh shit, it's Lucky. Who the fuck is Lucky? Like, obviously somebody that mattered, nigga. Like, I don't know. She got scared and jumped up. So she comes out cursing him out. Her dude follows behind him. Lucky like, bitch, you yamp ass bitch. How you gonna be in here basing with my fucking daughter in here, you trifling asshole? Like, talking to her crazy in front of the kid. Talking to her crazy in front of the mom. In front of the little girl. Then the boyfriend, he must have been tweaking, because I'm like, why are you trying to fight this man when he really got a problem with the fact that she doing drugs in front of his daughter? That shit ain't got nothing to do with you. But niggas always trying to prove they, big and bad and all of that shit. So J-Bone and Lucky end up jumping this nigga, okay, in front of the kids. And y'all, the saddest part of this is when Lucky stops and says, man, I ain't got to deal with this shit. Like, it's the moment where you realize you didn't put yourself in some street shit. You didn't put yourself into some ignorant shit. And you don't even come from that. So it's this moment where he's like, I don't have to deal with this shit. And so he picks the little girl up and he takes her out. And the little boy says, I want to go too. You're going to take, first of all, Keisha, I understand like you want the little girl to be with her mama and all of that. But the household it looked like Lucky goes home to is middle class, nice house. This girl is staying in the fucking projects with your daughter. There's no reason that little girl should have ever been, right, keeping a pipe in a candy bowl. Exactly. There's no reason why Keisha should have ever been with Angel. Considering the fact that she absolutely was tweaking when she came out there. Because she did straighten that table up hella fast. Child, one shot, she was like, and the next shot, that shit was all like in sections and shit. I said, bitch, I didn't even notice that the first time. Okay? But yeah, it was sad. She's screaming and hollering. This is traumatizing to the little girl and the little boy, of course. And then J-Bone just walks out and leaves his son there. So when the little boy grows up and turns into another nigga on the street to get killed, it's because nobody came and saved him. I'm just saying. So back at the salon, Justice has finished Aisha's braids. Child, this nigga did his whole shift, came home, got in a fight, then got home to his mama's house, and them braids just got finished, child. If that ain't like going to an old school hair salon and being there for 12 hours, okay, only to get half of your damn head braided, I know something. So Justice was on her shit, okay? So Aisha, y'all know, is Chicago's girlfriend, right? She's the crazy girl that that Lucky wants Chicago and her to hook him up with some girl, right? So y'all, Haywood. Y'all, this was a moment that annoyed me about this movie. Haywood is, y'all seen Light Skin. Y'all know him. He playing all the movies, okay? I forgot his real name. But it's some nice photographs. But Haywood finds out something on the phone. And they have this moment, but nobody like zeroed in on it. But it was believed, and I always believed growing up, that because Haywood was obviously gay, and this is 1993 or 4, I think, 3 or 4. Either way, this is a time where AIDS is like ravaging the black community just like crack is, right? So it kind of made sense that just as there are gangsters and drug dealers outside, that inside the hair salon is a gay black man that just found out he has HIV or AIDS. They didn't talk about it, but that's the vibe that it gave. They were all supposed to be driving up to Oakland for this hair show, but Justice is really lackadaisical about it. And then Aisha invites her to ride up to Oakland with her in Chicago and all of that. Okay. She said she didn't want to do it at first, but when her car didn't work, she ended up doing it. Okay. Yeah, he was on Eve's Bayou too. Haywood and Dex getting into arguments over a brush in the damn hair salon. His name's Roger G. Okay, thanks. I was trying to figure out what that dynamic is between sexy Dex and Haywood. You don't see straight male hairstylists as much anymore. So honestly, it made me feel like Dex, even though he came off straight, it felt like Dex might have been closeted, which is why he had so much aggression towards Haywood. Like, Dex seemed like the type of dude that was fucking the women that would be in his chair. But it was also like this real underlying aggression between him and Haywood that I didn't really understand. Like, it definitely felt like either you're ostracizing him because you want to make sure people know that you're straight. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to get into it with him and fight with him because I want everybody to know we ain't cool and I ain't like him, even though I work here too. I don't know which one it was exactly, but it's another part where I felt like we could have definitely, you know, kind of delved a little bit more into whatever was going on. Child, Keith Washington was beautiful. Sexy Dex was beautiful, okay, on this movie. I thought they were both gay. Yeah, no. Oh, I see the masculine top. That's what I feel like it probably was. Like, that's my belief that might have been the vibe, but I'm not exactly sure. It could go either way, and that's why I feel like we definitely could have tapped more into that conversation. Because it really did feel like Keith Washington was like more of the hairstylist to fuck his clients in order to make sure that he was getting his money. And Haywood just seemed like, you know, the gay guy that knows how to do good hair, girl. So yeah, very, very interesting personalities in the salon, girl. So y'all, the scene when Justice goes home and they do the I never dreamed you leave in summer. I thought you would go, then come back home. Yeah, I love that song. I thought the cold would leave by summer, but my quiet nights will be spent alone. You said then you'd be the light in autumn. That is when you started to be cold. Oh, I never dreamed you leave in summer, but now I find my love is gone away. Why didn't you stay? Listen, and you know he holds that note out for the longest, but I can't. But either way, y'all, it always sends me, y'all. That song always sends me. And the reason why is because in the scene, she's looking in the mirror. Like, at first she's eating the popcorn and all of that. But then when she is standing in the mirror looking at herself and she starts to pull her hair up and kind of look how she probably felt like she looked in the car with Markel, you know, looking sexy, looking beautiful. And I think for a moment, it made her feel good to look at herself. And then she remembered what happened. And then it's like, I can't feel this way. I'm not entitled to feel this way because of what happened. And that's where the guilt comes in. And she goes from smiling at herself to taking her braids and pulling them around her neck because it hurts so much. And then the crying. Like, y'all, Janet did her fucking thing in that moment. Like, literally. It's one of the most heart-wrenching moments. And then because John Singleton is such a good director and he doesn't want you to stay in the low moment, he's going to make that quick switch to the scene with Aisha dancing for corny, goofy ass, no rhythm having ass Chicago. Girl, I was like, what the hell is with this like little cut in scene that y'all put in with nothing extra? Okay. And then we go to, I love Optimistic. That's one of my favorite songs. Lucky is, like I said, living at home with his mom, who won't let him smoke a cigarette or cuss around her, even though he's an adult. And that goes back to Black parents always feeling the need to treat their children like children. Just because these are your children, it does not mean that they are children. And so if Lucky goes to work all day and comes home and smokes a cigarette and has a conversation with his mom and curses, why does he need to be cursed out and checked behind it? It's because y'all can never let people be adults. They always have to be in reverence of you as if they're a child and not an adult in a space with another adult that they respect. So I feel like there's absolutely an energy of Lucky feeling powerless in his home because his mother won't allow him to be an adult. And it's because she probably feels like as long as you're staying in my house, then I dictate the rules. That's supposed to make you want to leave her house and get your own shit. A lot of people don't realize that. I think sometimes Black parents make their homes, a place where you can't just do whatever you want to do because they want you to get out and get your own shit. They don't want you to just stay, laying in their house. They want you to go and get that experience on your own. And even though I feel like, there's nothing wrong with us having this conversation nowadays about how, you don't always have to tell your 18-year-old if they don't have it figured out, they got to get out your house. But I also feel like there's something to be said for the fact that a lot of Black people, especially Black men, if allowed to, will never get their own shit. They'll never get their own place. They'll stay in their parents' house and in a house with their mama until they die. They'll get the house and then don't take good care of it or let it get run down or don't pay the taxes. Okay? And then the shit getting taken by somebody. So honestly, it's kind of annoying sometimes when we have these conversations because it's like, I do understand that we don't want to impress on kids that they should have to have it figured all out because they Black kids and we're going to kick their ass out. No. But at the same time, you can't allow certain people to rest on their laurels because they'll never do it if you give them the space where they don't have to. If they always have somebody to save them from having to pay for their own home and deal with these things, then they won't do it. So I do feel like there's a part of this where even though I can get Lucky feeling angry towards his mom because of the way she talks to him or whatever the circumstances are, it seems as if that lady's a nurse, works hard, has impressed upon you that you shouldn't be out there selling drugs and getting killed. You still living at home with her while you working this good, honest job. You got a daughter by a crackhead, which honestly I feel like was probably a disappointment to your mother that you got that girl pregnant. Okay? And then you get to go back to your nice little, house with your mama, and your baby mama's out here living in squalor with the two kids. Of course, decisions she probably made for herself along the way. But it's just, isn't it funny how he can make bad decisions and still be coddled and taken care of? But his exact opposite, which is the baby mama, look at her life. Both people made bad decisions. But look at how one is taken care of and the other one isn't. And I'm not saying that always happens like that, because there are a lot of, young black women that come from middle class families that will take care of them just like Lucky's mama took care of him. But I think it was just funny to me how he had like this aggression towards women throughout the entire movie. And I'm feeling like it stems from him feeling a way about his mom, but essentially looking at it like, nigga, your mom still did better than most. You're still doing better than most. Sitting up here feeling sorry for yourself and being angry. Okay? So he tells his mom that he's going to Oakland to do music with his cousin Khalil. She tells him don't be, overstaying her welcome, because you know how your Aunt Audrey is. Her and Aunt Audrey don't get along. Okay? He tells his mom that Keisha is there and she wants to make sure he knows that she's done raising kids. And it's another moment that makes you feel like, oh, she is, constantly at him about something. But no, time is not forever, and you can't waste your time thinking that life is going to happen to you. Okay, and a lot of young black men, I feel like, do that. You go sit in front of this TV and play the fucking video game, not building anything for yourself. Yeah, you got you a good job, but that's not enough. Having a good job is not enough if you don't have a plan, especially as a young black man, because you're going to turn around and be an old ass nigga with just a good job and nothing to really show for it besides some kids. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like there was definitely a look at Lucky like the young man that has it the best in these circumstances and still can't figure it out for himself. And, like it's like being in a rut. Because even if you are different, you're in an environment that wants to keep you down. It's crazy. We're not even gonna talk about the moms who pocket the drug money from their sons but still judge them. Child, crazy as hell. Like, ma'am, I'm gonna need for you to pick a side. Lucky seemed close to his aunt, her sister. Yeah. It ain't no positive black women in these kinds of movies. Shout out to the Wayans brothers. Now, there ain't no positive black women in these movies, okay? Lucky was a mailman. Mailmen and mail ladies make good money and have good benefits. Lucky was also in the union. He should have had his own place. Exactly. But why is he staying with his mom? Regressed. Scared of what? I don't know. Living at home and you got a good job, you should be saving. You should be doing something. But it damn sure shouldn't have been you living at your nice middle class house with your mama and your little girl living in the fucking projects with you and your good job, your good honest job. Like, it definitely seemed like he was resting on his laurels and he wasn't doing anything with what he had. Not really. He wanted to do the music. So the job was just a job. But yeah, okay. So Justice's car isn't working, so she ends up getting a ride with Aisha in Chicago. But when she sees Lucky, she recognizes him as the nigga trying to mac at the salon, and he recognizes her as the stuck-up bitch from the salon. Chicago, addresses Justice as baby, and that bothers Aisha, baby. And I'm just like, oh my God. He absolutely is the type of nigga to try to mac on your friend in front of your face. But it also gives like, girl, Justice don't want him. They end up arguing when he asks if she's, why she was being quiet. So Justice is quiet. He said, and this is, I'm going to tell y'all, a lot of times women don't give men any, like, we're not talking to you. I'm not even looking in your direction, because if I do, you're going to think it's an invitation. So if I'm looking this way and I'm not talking, this is me letting you know that I don't want to talk and I'm not giving you an invitation to talk to me. He still proceeds to talk to her, right? And she says, I'm just quiet because I don't have nothing to say. And then he asks, why is she so mean? And so she doesn't respond to that. And she like took a deep breath. And I was like, see, that's what I'm talking about. I don't feel like being bothered. So because I'm not allowing you access to me and my energy right now, I'm being mean. Boy, fuck you. If you don't take a deep breath and mean just because she doesn't want to give him attention, y'all, that's aggravating as fuck. It's a way for men to always be trying to like emotionally manipulate people simply because they're not getting their way. It's very childlike. Okay. So anyway, he asked why she's so mean. why she have to be so mean. And she ignores him. And then he calls her an angry bitch. And I'm like, so the lady ain't even say nothing yet. The lady ain't even say nothing. And she's an angry bitch. And this is when she gets mad and says, well, we all used to say back in the day, if I'm a bitch, then your mama's a bitch. And then he says, save that black woman shit. You bleed once a month just like the rest of the hoes. We not talking about my mama. We talking about your stuck up ass. So because I don't want to have a conversation with you right now, you feel like you can now berate me with your judgments of me simply because you want me and I don't want you. Are y'all serious? And this is the type of shit that men do all the time. Like the type of shit that men do all the time. And then when women pop back, now we get the she's aggressive. She has a bad attitude. Like, boy, fuck you. What do you think is going to happen when you come at somebody like that? Throughout this entire movie, it was so many times where the men would just say the craziest shit to the women. And when the women respond to the disrespect, then they're wrong. Okay? So he calls her a scandalous ass bitch that thinks a nigga is supposed to do backflips for her ass. Nigga, you making up shit in your mind now. That lady just simply wanted to be left the fuck alone. And you've created a scenario in your mind because you feel insecure about the fact that she wasn't paying you any attention. Child, what? She gets off the truck because even though we in the middle of nowhere, I don't know why you think you about to talk to me like this. Me personally, I wouldn't have got off shit. I would have went sat in the back and told them two motherfuckers, y'all can fuck another time. I'm not about to sit and be disrespected by this nigga. And I damn sure ain't walking on no long road on the side of Pacific Coast Highway. You got me fucked up, okay? But either way, she jumps off. She cursed him out. Fuck you. We're gonna fuck you up. Fuck you and all of this. And he drives off. And Aisha wakes Chicago up. Chicago like, shit, she could walk. Y'all, Chicago really ain't shit. Chicago really ain't shit, y'all. Like, we gonna get into Chicago. Because I feel like on some level, Lucky's relationship with Chicago was a testament to his low self-esteem. As much as when we see them together, we can see how Lucky would probably be, you know, like the nicer guy to fuck with, even though they both come off as assholes. Lucky would seem a little bit more charismatic and sure of himself. You know what I'm saying? But it was almost like Lucky and Joe Torre, Chicago were a reflection of each other. Both insecure, both feeling entitled to a woman to behave the way they want the woman to behave, for their feelings, to coddle their emotions. And when the women don't respond in that way, they feel like they can disrespect the women and hit them. Okay. So eventually Lucky calms down and they following her like, come on, please get back on the truck, Justice. Please get back on the truck. Lucky said he gonna apologize. Lucky is looking like a little sick puppy right now, okay? And even though I feel like he was the one that initiated it, when she got mad and she was like, fuck you, I ain't talking, I ain't saying shit, he responded like in like. He responded to it. I don't give a fuck what he talking about. He felt bad. He felt bad. That's why he was driving, okay? And so when they stop and Aisha, gets her to get back on the truck, he opens the back up for her and all of that. And the look on his face told me he was sad, but because Chicago is there, he gonna make a joke. Well, frankly, my dear, I don't give a fuck. They still gonna fuck you up and laugh it off. And it's like, but 2 minutes ago, you were sitting up there looking like, like somebody just stole your fucking bike. Okay. But anyway, they go to the gas station and Chicago lies about how much sex he and Aisha are having and how good I be fucking her up and all of this. Shy. Lucky is calling her a drunk hoe who needs to get her own job. And I'm like, you see what I'm saying? why do you have a problem with the simp-like behavior happening between Aisha and your homeboy? At the end of the day, you know Chicago ain't doing none of that shit he talking about. You know that he's a perpetrator. So you know when niggas are perpetrators, they gotta pay to play. You know that. But you mad at Aisha for going along with the way things go. Right? Taking advantage of the fact that this simp ass nigga, want to pound on her for 2 seconds before he like what? So what you think? You think we supposed to be having unpleasurable sex and you not supposed to do nothing for us? Y'all got the world fucked up. Like, I'm just saying. And Aisha was telling Justice that he a 2-minute brother with no rhythm. So you know the sex ain't good. So she hanging around with him because he provides her with things. Duh. Like, that's how I go. You're not good at sex. You better be able to buy and treat me nice if you trying to fuck with me. Just what it is. Okay? You want to talk about a simp? Chicago was a simp. This was a definition of a simp. Somebody with low self-esteem. Somebody, like all of that brushing his hair constantly is because he was so self-conscious about how he looked. Okay? So you're insecure. You work out, but yeah. Okay, yeah, you got your own place. You're not like Lucky's ass staying at home with your mama. That's true. But you have a bad personality. You talk to women disrespectful. Like, just because you have a job and a few muscles, you think you the shit. Like Aisha told him eventually. Like, and you're not. So calm the fuck down. Okay? You're rude. You're mean. And you think because you got your own place and a few muscles that you should be able to handle women any kind of way. And no, that's not how that goes. Like, So they pull up on the Johnson family reunion. Cousin! First of all, a bitch ain't seen a family reunion this dope in years, okay? It was a vibe out there. It's been a long, long time since we had a chance to get together. Okay? I love it. So, y'all like the video. Aisha has started drinking. They run into cousin Pete, who is flirting with his female cousins. So I want us to recognize the archetype of cousin Pete that comes off so nice and sweet and everything, but all he worrying about is pussy. That's his cousins, all the young pussy in front of him. But that shit, I want y'all, like, that's creep, y'all. The only reason he was okay with Lucky and them coming to eat, he knew they wasn't family. He knew that. But he saw Justice. And he was like, ooh, you got a fine girlfriend there. And because she was nice to look at, y'all can go ahead and eat some of the food. We all family out here. But pervy as a motherfucker. I didn't pick that up the first time. But the only reason it felt like he, escorted them around was because of how fine Justice was. So Lucky pretends to be cousin, but cousin Pete is giving him props for Justice being so fine. Aisha decides to lie and say she and Chicago are husband and wife. No rings. I don't know why you would lie about something like that. Just being immature. And so they got questioned by the 3 aunties, okay? It was Aunt June, Aunt April, and Aunt May. Call them the calendar sisters, okay? And I love this moment because I feel like even though these women thought that they were saying something deep, I feel like the old women sitting under the tree had a certain amount of smarts about them, but their attitudes about things is how they lost us, okay? I could never walk around. Girl, listen. Y'all know this girl ain't married, sitting up there questioning them people, they lying, okay? But they get questioned about if they're in love or not. And they clock Aisha isn't wearing a ring. They say their husbands will act a fool if they didn't wear no ring. All right, baby, we understand. Y'all probably all got cheated on too. Okay? And they were having some good conversation. Hold up, I think I put it in my notes. So Justice guys over someone else's baby, which I thought was crazy to me because I feel like Justice kept having this, I don't like kids, I don't know why y'all talking to me, but anytime children were around, she lit up. Okay? So Lucky peeps that she probably is the type of woman that used to date lawyers, doctors, pharmacists, street pharmacists. So he's clocking, you Rudy Tooty. So you probably the type of woman that would need a man to make a certain amount of money in order for you to fuck with him. Okay? So she peeps his type. You the type of nigga that got a kid. Lucky said he never seen so many black folks in one spot and it ain't no fight. He asked her about the street pharmacist and she says that she only went out with one and he was her first love. And then he says that she must have been in it for the money. Now, why would you say that? That girl just said that was her first love. She wearing black because the nigga dead. And you say that she must have been in it for the money. And I think he said that to hurt her because when she admitted that she had been with a drug dealer, he knows he's not a drug dealer. He's now not the type. So now he's even more insecure because you just the postman and apparently the postman ain't good enough. And this is where that fucked up mindset that a lot of these niggas today, these manosphere niggas that be running their mouth talking bullshit. Most of the people that I know in everyday real life that have families, which is like most of the people in New Orleans I know have like, husband, wife, family, even the people that broke up, divorced, got with somebody else. Most people have like families in these areas, right? And the people that have families in this area, most of the men work those types of jobs. They may not make you a whole bunch of money like a drug dealer, but they make you enough money to pay all your bills, to take your little vacations. They got good benefits. So most women around my way love the man with a good job and some good benefits, especially when we were growing up. When man worked at the post office, that nigga was making bank. I know because my mama's first husband worked at the post office. So I knew the vibe of a good looking man that's charming that works at the post office is getting pussy. I'm just letting you know. So Lucky's attitude towards himself was really in his own mind. Because had he just had a different energy about him, there would have been no need to be so insecure about yourself with her. Because you had everything that you needed, but it was almost like you didn't recognize that you had everything you needed. So instead of looking at the situation like, I wonder why she responds like this. I wonder what's going on. I wonder what's her story. And you might have been wondering those things, but how you actually respond to her is, bitch, you not responding to my greatness. What the fuck wrong with you? And that's not how you gonna get any woman who values herself to pay attention to you. That's not how you gonna get it, okay? So she tells him, what do you know? You don't even keep your fucking nails clean, nigga. Talking to me about, I was with a nigga for the money. Meanwhile, you got a daughter you don't want to admit you got and you can't even wash your nails. So Maya Angelou is talking to the Calendar sisters and she says, young folks don't know the difference between right and wrong. Their parents aren't teaching them, but the children have to think for themselves. She uses Aisha as an example. She ain't been more married, honey, than a man in the moon. And now there she is over there flirting with somebody else. And then this is the moment where I have to look at the Calendar sisters and say, well, if she's not married, what's wrong with her flirting with somebody else? If she's not married, like you said, what's wrong with her flirting with somebody else? And that's why I said, even though they had wisdom, because they were right. They were absolutely right. At this time period, people are not teaching their children right from wrong like that. Not really. Because if you look around now, you can see that. Y'all don't know how to act a lot of the times. Y'all think Blueface and Krishan are relationship goals. Y'all have no idea how women should be talked to and treated and respected. And likewise, and men, how men should be respected and taken care of. But the difference is I feel like men have always had the space to demand respect. You've always had the space to physically impose it, to financially impose it, to emotionally impose it, to sexually impose it. You've always had the power in this dynamic to impose your will on women. And only certain women are able to impose their will on certain men. Okay? So, it's a dynamic that I feel like people don't like to be fully honest about. So sometimes the advice they give comes off imbalanced. Because that's some imbalance. Okay, we can point out that Aisha shouldn't be lying about being married. But we also need to point out that it shouldn't be expected of her to act married when she's not. Just saying. Okay, now you want to talk about a respect factor. She doesn't respect him because he don't respect her and he doesn't respect himself. So that's why she don't respect him. But she also don't respect herself either. Nobody respects themselves. That's why she handled the situation the way that she did. Some dude go over there talking to her and she was talking to him. And in all honesty, there shouldn't be anything wrong with her talking to somebody. But you also knew how Chicago was going to respond to that. Of course, he responds angrily. Justice saw it and tried to stop Aisha. And she was like, I'm talking. And it's because she's drinking and you want to be humbuggish. So once again, Aisha, check yourself, bitch. This is your alcohol problem showing its face here. Chicago comes over to grab her up and the dude starts pushing Chicago. They, do a little back and forth, but, it gets broken up. They get on the truck and she's drunk arguing with him and he says that she's disrespecting him. She's an alcoholic ass bitch. And I'm like, so she may be that, but how is you talking to her like that gonna make her want to respect you? I'm just saying, we got to be real. If you want respect from people, you have to give it. Justice asked Lucky to pull over so she can talk to her. She throws, so when they get off, Aisha throws up and Justice grabs her bottle and says, this is the fucking problem. And she said, and this is a moment where I really wish they would have let this moment sit a little longer because it came off so abrupt. You act like an alcoholic bitch, just like my damn mama. You got to tighten up on that shit, Aisha. And then you keep hearing her say, I didn't know. Damn, I didn't know. It's like it doesn't matter if you knew or not. It doesn't matter that Justice's mom was an alcoholic and it hurts her to see you like this. What matters is that you're drinking to the point of embarrassing yourself. Now, I'm wondering if this moment actually did something for Aisha, because we really didn't see her drink much more after that. We didn't. We didn't see her do much more drinking after that situation. So Lucky and Chicago get into it at this moment because Lucky is playing his cousin Khalil's music and just was like, oh, that's nice. You know what I'm saying? And so he starts talking about his music thing, which is something that's supposed to take him away from Chicago and where Chicago is. So whenever you're insecure about who you are as a person and somebody who you low-key kind of look up to a little bit, or you like being around them because you know they get a certain type of energy that you feel like you don't have, if it feels like something will take them away from you, you will act like a fucking hater. And that's exactly what Chicago did in that moment when he downed Khalil's music, because he knows this is something that Lucky is trying to do. That's why they're going up to Oakland in the first place. It wasn't just for the job. It's also because Lucky goes up to Oakland every other weekend to do music with his cousin Khalil. And Chicago starts comparing himself, talking about, man, nigga, that ain't art. You want to talk about an artist? Like, I know how to dress. And he's like, nigga, what? Creative. He was like, you want to talk about creative? I dress. Nigga, what? Like, it's always a nigga that won't hate on somebody because they trying and you ain't. And that's how they had that little fuck you back and forth. So now we starting to see Chicago and Lucky ain't really friends like that. So they go to the beach and we hear their inner thoughts. Justice is thinking about fucking with Lucky, but him having a kid is an issue for her. I don't know why. You obviously like kids. He's thinking about seeing how the booty work. Aisha hopes her mama picked up her clothes from the cleaners. She also plan on calling another nigga named Terry when she gets home. And Chicago thinks he's the shit because he got a car, clothes, an apartment, so his shit is set. Aisha says she gonna drop him when they get home. She tired of his ass, and it's because he aggy as fuck. He tried, there's moments where you could tell he's insecure and trying too hard, but he does it in a disingenuous way. It's like, nigga, just relax. I feel like we've all met the Chicago type before. That constant brushing his hair, that shit, I feel like was to show us there's a constant need to fix himself. So he feels insecure. And I wish you would just deal with that. Nigga, you gonna brush your hairline away. In a transcript around that time in the movie, it was a scene that was cut out that was supposed to be like playback of Justice's mother before she died or something. Yeah, okay, got it. Men do this a lot. Get on my nerves, yeah. When Lucky hit him with the "I'm in the union," I knew they was done. He was like, "Nigga, you do the same thing as me." He was like, "Yeah, but I'm in the union." Okay, and that does mean something, y'all. It really does. I was in the union too. So they go to an African culture fair, and Justice and Lucky seem to connect in that space even more. Like the shit that was being said, the music, like there was a softening in both of them that was happening in this space. And I feel like that was something intentional. In a space where blackness is being celebrated, is where these two people are able to let some of their guard down and draw closer to each other. So I feel like that was on purpose. So now Chicago is rushing Lucky, telling him that he's just trying to give to that bitch. And I'm like, she's standing right there. Why would you say that in front of her, calling her a bitch like that? And Justice says, "Fuck you, limp dick motherfucker." And he said, "What?" She said, "Fuck you." She didn't say the limp dick motherfucker because she knew that he might want to get violent with her if she said it again. Chicago tells Lucky he needs to check that bitch. First of all, why the fuck do you feel like Lucky should be able to check her? They don't go together. They not going steady. They not even fucking around at this point. Why do you feel like because he likes her, he should be able to check her? And why does she need to be checked for responding to you calling her a bitch? What? Child, get away from me with this. Really, you hating on Lucky right now and taking it out on the woman. Because you too much of a bitch to take it to Lucky. And that's another thing. Like, all of this aggression towards the women is because y'all really be having aggression towards other niggas and you too scared to take it to them. So you rather take it to women because you know you physically overpower most women. So Chicago tells Lucky he needs to check that bitch. When Justice walks away, he says, "You ain't gonna pull that. She's out of your league." Playing on his insecurities. He's already been feeling that way since he met her, that he wasn't good enough for her. And then in the background, the man that's on stage, you know, the part that you hear, you know, "Niggas, I love them. Niggas, I love them." But one thing I do not love about niggas is that niggas are scared of revolution. And I will never forget that line because my dad used to always impose the difference between being a black person and a nigga because he felt like there was a difference. Growing up in New Orleans, you learned that there is an absolute difference. We might call each other that, but somebody that's and not a real nigga like you, an honest black man, and you know, you was a real person and your word meant something. That's one version of a real nigga. But there's another where he was talking about the niggas that's scared of revolution and all of that. That's the niggas that only feel power in the destruction of their communities. So because they only feel power in that space, they are fighting against the betterment of their communities because they don't want to lose the only power they think they have. But if they're actually backing away enough to look at it, you'll see you don't really have any power in this situation. But like a lot of black men, and I feel like this is a real thing because I keep coming back to it. I feel like a lot of black men are in some type of tornado in their mind and in their spirit. They're like always inside of something, being affected by things, but not being able to rise out of the cloud of it. Because it sometimes feels like all of these negative things about yourself. And so you get wrapped up in all of those negative things and you start to convince yourself of all the negative things that people say about you. And what you don't realize is that's not just a black person's experience, that's a life experience. And what is to be learned is that you have to counteract those negative thoughts. Anytime you come up with a negative thought about who you are, you need to come up with a positive to counteract that. And you keep doing that until you are able to change how you think about yourself. But a lot of people don't want to like really do the work that it takes to do that. But I do feel like a lot of the black men are in a cloud and they do not see around them clearly, but they just feel the ramifications of the shit that's happening around them. But they're not seeing it clearly. Therefore, not seeing themselves clearly. So they get really, really bogged down. And as Black women, we see it and we understand it, but we get bogged down too. And the difference is we're expected to pull them out of their shit. But what about us? Who's supposed to pull us out of it? And then when we look for men to pull us out of it, they call us gold diggers or say that, we always trying to get something from them and all of this shit. And it's like, nobody knows how to actually feel better. Nobody knows how to actually get to a better place. So everybody's filling it with other shit. And so they look for people to fill the hole that they have. And they look for people to provide the things they need to fill the hole that they have. Everybody's doing it, but everybody just likes to call out women for doing it this way, call out men for doing it that way, when everybody's going through the same thing of hearing all of the negative things about themselves in their minds, in the world, and sometimes allowing it to engulf their minds and their spirit. And it's not true. But you have to be strong enough to counteract the negative thoughts. And you also have to have somebody to teach you or show you or tell you or present that to you. Because if nobody tells you that you have to make a conscious effort to counteract the negative thoughts that people put on you, then you just become other people's version of yourself. Child, Audre Lorde said something on The Best Man that is exactly on point with that. But anyway, y'all know I be getting in my bag. I'm sorry. But that niggas are scared of revolution shit was a deep moment for me. That's why they let it kind of resonate for a minute. So they leave in Chicago, give some of that limp dick to Aisha. And she was riding. Child, ain't nothing worse than limp dick when you riding. It's just kind of like, so what you wanted me to get on top for? You do better when you standing up, but then y'all niggas won't complain all the time. Okay? Listen, you need the blood coming from your feet, nigga. Stand up. Anyway, so she tells him, he came real quick, y'all. It was sad. And she was like, she frustrated because she done tried to give you some and you ain't give her none. Shit. And she was like, he was like, what's the problem? Like, no, your dick's the motherfucking problem. And, he's getting, oh my God, he's getting real scared right now. He don't want Lucky to hear that his dick game is bad. That's embarrassing. It's so funny how in this society, y'all don't really care about women's pleasure. But if another man knows that you're not pleasuring a woman, you feel ashamed. Y'all, what the fuck is that? You don't care that the woman felt that you didn't do your job. You don't care about that. You're worried about your homeboy knowing that the woman felt like you didn't do your job. That shit. Like, I want you to think about how much people think about things through the gaze of men. How men are going to feel about something. Even down to how you pleasure the woman you with. You only care about it if your homeboy is going to turn around and call you a limp dick nigga. Now, the woman that you fucking calling you that, nobody cares. You just buy her something to make up for the fact that your dick don't work right. Child, exactly. Make it make sense. She said, that brother needs some sea moss. That brother needs to stop with the steroids. Okay. That's why Aisha said, what the fuck you do? Take steroids? Okay. She said she thought that she would give him some before she dropped him, but he couldn't even do that right. He tells her to shut up because he doesn't want Lucky to hear. They stopped the van again, so that they can get off and argue. And Aisha was kind of having a moment to herself, and Chicago was trying to talk to her, and she was like, Chicago, please leave me alone. I don't want to talk. And he won't talk. So now he like, why you acting like that? Why you acting like that? Why you acting like that? Like, nigga, I'm sexually frustrated right now. I'm gonna tell y'all something. If men experienced not having an orgasm the way women did sometimes, y'all would be killing us. Like, y'all already do. But the feeling as a woman, like, tell me I'm not lying, women. The feeling that you feel in your body when you was about to catch it and a nigga fucked it up for you and you didn't catch it and then they got theirs, and so now you know you're not gonna be able to get yours for at least another 30 minutes, but in your body you was right there. So now physically your heightened almost orgasm turns into pure rage, and you have to now calm yourself down because you're pissed off about the fact that your body didn't get what it was supposed to be getting in this moment. You physically want to kill this nigga, but you gotta act like it's okay because you don't want to make him feel bad about the fact that his dick didn't do what it was supposed to do. Child, listen. When I tell you, I can, that has not happened to me in a while. But when I tell you, I can remember because they stop. You be right there. You be right there and they stop and it fuck you up and then they nut and you want to stab them and then they want to act like you need to be sensitive about this. Don't say nothing to nobody. That's when you bring out the rabbit and finish the job. Child, I be so mad after that. I just be like, man, you don't get the fuck. Right. But then I'm rude. But I'm rude and will finish myself off sometimes. Look. That's why I had a rule for you gotta eat me first. Because I need to make sure this happens before we get to this point where you might disappoint. Okay? Listen, okay? Be so mad. And then I hate the way they'll never understand physically how it feels. You'll be like, but then it's like, it's all right, babe. It's okay. It's all right. It's okay. Nah, we'll try again in a little bit. Meanwhile, you want to plot this nigga's murder. Okay, child, y'all gonna stop being bucked up about that rose. Okay, I'm gonna get my magic wand as soon as I finish this live. Okay. Anyway, y'all. So as I was saying, Aisha says the reason the other, they're going back and forth. I told you not to talk to me. I told you not to talk to me. And eventually Aisha said, okay, you want me to keep it real with you? I'm going to keep it real with you. She said, the reason the other bitch left you is because you can't hang. He says, what you mean I can't hang? That's a fucked up thing to say. That's what I get for fucking with bitches like you. She said, fucking with bitches like me? He said, yeah, bitches like you who don't give a fuck. And I'm like, excuse me? She not supposed to care about your feelings that much. That's what's wrong with the world today, is that bitches care too much about you niggas' feelings. That's why a lot of women don't know what an orgasm is, because they care more about protecting your feelings than getting a nut. And that's not how it's supposed to be, because they don't care more about your feelings than the men don't care more about your feelings than they do about getting a nut. Because if they did, they wouldn't be like Chicago, more worried about what his homeboy gonna think about the fact that you didn't get your nut than he's worried about you not getting your nut. I don't even understand that. I need for you to feel bad. I need for you to feel like, you failed today. Okay? Like, I need you to think about that. And I think you need to, figure out a way to do better next time. Fuck out of here. Okay, the least I can do is you need to feel bad about it. Why the fuck why I gotta feel bad by myself and you had an orgasm? Nah, nigga, you gonna feel bad after this. Okay? Okay, so they going back and forth. She's had other niggas buy her better shit than him, so you ain't even spending the most money. She turns her back on him and he grabs her and tells her not to turn her back on him. She tells, look, I already told you not to touch me. So how many times does she have to tell him to stop touching her? That was another thing. Y'all often ignore when women say, leave me alone, stop touching me, and you keep doing it. He says she always fucking shit up. She tells him he's a weak ass punk. He ain't buff. He's a sorry motherfucker. Brush that weak ass fade. Niggas dick can't stay hard for 5 minutes. She said, what the fuck, you take steroids? Then she says, that's the reason why I'm fucking somebody else. She coup de grace him. She coup de grace that nigga. And she didn't have to go there. She could have left it at, what the fuck, you take steroids. She could have left it at that. But her telling him that she fucking another nigga, now mind you, they're single. And if Chicago could fuck another chick, he would. So I don't even feel like this should have been that big of a deal. Y'all not married, but this is how we do in these relationships. You're supposed to just be for him, right? So when she says, I'm fucking somebody else, he punches her. And when she saw the blood, she spazzed out and started swinging on him. And I'm just like, and that's the problem. He thought that he should be able to punch her and that was okay. That's some simp bitch ass shit for you to think that you can punch her in the mouth because she told you she was fucking somebody else after you done called her a whole bunch of bitches and hoes and all of this type of shit. So you can throw all of the slugs in the world about how she a drunk pussy ass bitch and all of that, but she tell you she fucking somebody else because your dick whack and you feel like you can punch her in her face. So they start fighting. And this is another moment where I said Justice shouldn't have been trying to fuck with Lucky at all. Justice asked Lucky if he's going to do something and he says, no, that's their business. But your homeboy is beating this girl up in front of you. So Justice gets off when he punches her for the second time and almost like he knocked her down when he punched her that time. Justice gets out of the van and kicks him in the nuts. He turns around and jumps on top of Justice. This is the only reason that Lucky decided to do something, which I feel like is flawed. I'm not saying you got to jump in every woman's situation, but as a man, for you to feel like you shouldn't even try to stop him from beating up on the girl unless you want to fuck the girl, that's a part of the problem in our community today, is that you only feel responsible or you only feel like you have to be a good person for women you want to fuck. And that is why a lot of women don't trust men in the first place, because women will be out here doing for any and everybody, not just men they fuck. Like, I'm gonna just keep it a buck. Most of the women I know, they do for the men in the community, they do for their brothers, they do for the men that they with. They do, they're not as stingy with their aid the way men are. Men feel like unless I'm fucking you, I can't do nothing for you, man. And then y'all get mad when women use sex to get what they want to get out of you. What are y'all talking about? Okay? So he jumps in. He was like, that's a fucking female. You can't handle that shit no better than that. Dude, you should have said all of that off rip. So I was looking at Lucky like, yeah, I don't care how fine he is. I would have sectioned him off in my mind as somebody I can't fuck with. Okay? I might fuck you, but I can't fuck with you. You know what I'm saying? Aisha says she's going to get the homeboys to shoot his ass. Okay? And I think this is another thing implying that women will sick their gangster family members and homeboys and shit. Oh my God. Women will sick their gangster ass family members on a man. But I personally feel like when around my way, you wasn't supposed to be able to punch a woman and get away with that shit if she got men in her family that look after her. So you can act like that's a bad thing, but I call it checks and balances. Y'all niggas be running amok. Okay? So Lucky and Chicago start fighting and he tells him, hit a man after he beats his ass. Chicago says, lead them hoes, man. Lead them hoes. Because it's supposed to be bros before hoes. That was such bullshit, y'all. That was such bullshit. And so he ended up having to walk his whack ass to Oakland like he wanted Justice to do. So Lucky is feeling away. I don't know why. But they go back to the water, to the beach on the coast. And Justice grabs a blanket and goes to sit next to him. She says, they was going to break up anyway. Justice tells him this story about when she was younger, about her Uncle Leon coming around with change. And she was always looking for the big nickel, which is a quarter. And she basically tells him her story. She lets him in. And then she turns around and nurtures him. And I feel like she did this because she felt that he defended her. So now I can open up more to this man. But I feel like that was a mistake. I feel like that was a mistake because even though he had defended her, that was still a red flag that he only did it because you got involved. You know what I'm saying? But she basically explained to him that her mom committed suicide when she was 12. Her mom named her Justice because she was in law school when she was pregnant with her. But now everybody's gone. Her grandmother left her house, and all she has now is her cat. But she shared herself with him in more than one way after that. So all he had to do was fight his homeboy off of her after all of this disrespect all fucking day. You wanted to whip that nigga ass when he said something about your cousin music. But we gonna act like it was for her. And then she gives, all of herself to him in this moment. Hold up, y'all. Like the video. All right, and I'm back. Okay. So, where was I? So I think they had sex on the beach. We didn't see it, but I think that's what happened. On the ride home, she's all smiles and happy like we've never seen her before. That made it obvious that they had sex. Because remember, they kept saying the whole time because she wasn't smiling this because she hadn't got no dick. So now she's smiling. We know she got some dick. Okay? So, they had sex. So when he tells her he has something to tell her after, she asks, don't tell me you got something. Because, this is 92, 93. So this is the time of HIV and AIDS. And he says, no, it's not like that. And then when they finally park in front of his aunt's house, he says that, he got a daughter. And she act like she was mad about that. I'm like, but you already knew he was the type. So I don't know why you acting like that bothered you. But this is when he figures out that his cousin Khalil was shot down the street. No, I don't. I don't still do credit repair. I haven't done it in years. But yeah, when he saw his cousin on that, I feel like the cousin was already dead, but the way they had him out there in front of everybody, it felt like disrespect from the police and the ambulance people. Like they wasn't trying to save this man. Like they felt like, oh, it's just another gangster in the community, when really Khalil was trying to do music and do something different and came from a good home. And it's like this lack of care was just so fucked up to me. You know what I'm saying? Like it definitely felt like a lack of care in this moment, and Aunt Audrey is screaming over her son's body. So when he goes to drop Justice and Aisha off at the motel, he's hurt and she's comforting him. And he says if he had got there on time, this wouldn't have happened, instead of, him fucking with her. So now it's her fault that somebody died again. Again. This is the second time we've talked about her feeling guilt from somebody dying from this street shit. But somehow it's not her fault. Y'all, that was the most fucked up part about this, when you really think about it, is that she finally opened herself up to somebody. And because of what's going on in the community, this man that she's never met before gets killed. And now it's her fault, just as it was when her first love got killed. That shit was so traumatizing to me. So Jesse says, we scraping the bottom of the pudding cup now, huh? And she was like, don't worry about what you don't know about. I don't know what the fuck was the point of Jesse saying that. I don't know what that was about. Almost like a I told you so type of moment. And I didn't even understand where that was coming from. But anyway, Jesse tells Aisha, once they look at that black eye that Chicago gave her, they giving her the terrible advice that she should have fucked Chicago, stole his credit card, and then partied on his dime, as if he wouldn't have then come and killed her ass after, or beat her more. Just giving bad advice all the ways around. Jesse tells, wait, hold up. So Lawrence's aunt and uncle give him Khalil's equipment so he can do music with it. Looks like Jesse and them didn't win the hair show. They go back home. We hear Phenomenal Woman, which is obviously Justice giving herself what she needed to get where she needed to go. Like the Phenomenal Woman poem sounds like The Phenomenal Woman poem to me is like positive affirmations. You know what I'm saying? It's positive affirmations. And I feel like she basically did positive affirmations until she got to where she needed to be, which is not wearing black anymore, which is caring more about her appearance, which was smiling, you know? And, you know what I'm saying? Talking about the lady and fake ass nails and look at her with them run down ass shoes. And the lady was like, y'all got a problem or something? And she was like, do you have a problem? Just know James is mine. It's like, so you sitting up here dressing this woman down, knowing all along this is a woman that's fucking your dude. You not mad at your dude, you mad at her. And so and so you sitting up here talking nasty to this woman, and she says, look, bitch, you want to take this outside? Like, what you want to do? Okay, because I'm ready to box out if you feel like you want it. Okay. And then Jesse comes in, hey, we're not going to have that in here. Okay. Y'all take that mess outside. Okay. And then she was like, just remember, bitch, whenever you kiss him, you tasting my pussy. And y'all know that's the line that lives in infamy, bitch. Okay? Whenever you want to get a bitch together behind a nigga, okay, just remember that when you in him, bitch, you tasting my pussy. Remember that. Girl, forever to be used in ignorant bitch infamy. Okay? So Jessie said she gotta go. Then here come Lucky coming in with Keisha. Child, they ain't combed Keisha hair since I don't know when. He sits down with Justice, and he says, I made a mistake, but everybody makes mistakes. I don't like when people do that. If you apologize for something, you don't have to impose on me that other people make mistakes as well. That goes without saying. It feels like, yeah, I'm sorry, but don't be mad at me because everybody fuck up. When at the end of the day, if you did something to hurt somebody, you can't tell them how to handle their hurt. But, we're going to ignore red flags because it's Tupac. We ignoring red flags, girl. And he's sitting there with a baby, a cute little girl for you to like. So you're going to ignore all of that. He didn't shoplifted the pootie. He really was trying to get her back when he came in with his daughter. He was really trying to get her. Okay. So he asked if she forgives him. And she says, come here, baby. Let me whisper something to you, which makes it funny. He was like, get the fuck out of here. It's a moment or whatever. And then she was like, Lucky, what you doing with this, with this child's hair? And then what is this? This is her automatically assuming the role of a woman figure in his child's life simply because he gave her a half-ass apology. Bitch, I want y'all to see the way women Black women specifically are always ready to go all in and give everything to somebody who ain't giving them nearly enough. But the girls that treat niggas like shit, like Aisha in Chicago, she can run that nigga pockets and she can't run him no more if she play it right, while treating him like shit. Ain't that some funny shit? So they kiss and everybody's happy to see it. And we got the Janet Jackson song at the end. Suddenly the memories come back to me in my mind. How can I be strong? I ask myself time and time again that I'll never fall in love with you again. Child, listen. Candy said she wouldn't have forgiven him because it was Candy Alexander. She was like, I wouldn't have forgiven him. It's like, ma'am, you still fucking with James. And James' lips taste like that girl's pussy that just ran out with the overbite. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? But yeah, it definitely felt like manipulation. But it was sexy manipulation. Okay? Safe but truth. Okay? Listen, don't y'all love that song? It was. I want to think he wasn't just being manipulative to bring the kid, but yeah, I could see like he was spending more time with her, but he wanted to get a free hairstyle and some sympathy. Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Never fall in love with you again. Child, I used to mix Candy Alexander and the lady who played Jessie. No, how can I forget Jessie's name? Child, I know Jessie because, from Boys in the Hood. Okay, that's Doughboy and their mama. My favorite ballad from Janet Jackson. That song was nominated for an Oscar the same year Angela Bassett was nominated for What's Love Got to Do with It. Child, it was a good year for Black people. Okay, we ain't win, but it was a good year for us. But do fine men get more of a pass on BS? I'm sure they do. I'm sure, you know what? I don't even think fine men get more of a pass on BS. It's not even about a man being fine. I don't think so. I think a lot of times it depends on whatever in that man triggers that woman. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of times it's sex. It's not really about them being fine. It's about the way, they dick do this. Come here, bitch. Come here. Okay? So yeah, y'all. Mickey Howard saying she needed her ass whipped after that was everything. She did. She did. That shit was so funny. Yes, thank you. Tyra Farrell. Thank you so much. I follow her on Instagram too. Love me some Tyra Farrell. You gotta respect, the actresses back in the day that always hit they point. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever Tyra Farrell was in, she played that role, girl. Okay? Okay. Yep, and the lady from Moesha. Yeah, and Dale was there. She finally did something with that hair. He cute. And then Jesse was like, yeah, he cute, but he ain't my type. Child, yes, just like fine women do, and men get over more. Exactly. Men get over way more. But everybody needs to understand that pretty privilege can go both ways. But the only thing for me is that I've seen women do crazy shit for ugly niggas. Like way, way more than, fat niggas, out of shape, can hardly breathe. Bitch, go up for the nigga. Do anything for him, okay? Like washing the dirty drawers out here, okay? I really do think it's about energy sometimes. Like, think about it. Think about the way Lil' Kim, did the fucking most for Biggie's old disrespectful ass. Think about that. Think about it. She let that nigga and other niggas, of course, convince her that she was the unattractive one in the situation. Okay, child, pickle juice drinking ass nigga, R.I.P. But yeah, y'all. Wait, did I miss the cover? Did you cover that part and I missed it? What part? Once a man F the bottom, it's alright. It's outrageous. Okay, again, bedroom game is deadly. For real. No, for real. That's really a lot of the times, I think what have women doing dumb shit when it comes to it's not really about looks as much as it is about swag and dictum. Just saying. The way Big did her was crazy. Him marrying Fate like he did right. Nigga, you just met her. I've been fucking with you for years and you married. What? Lil' Kim still sings Biggie's praises to this day. Exactly. Like a true domestic violence victim. Anytime a man financially provided for you while he was also beating your ass, you're going to always speak highly of him because most of these niggas don't financially provide and still beat your ass. Thanks, Bondy. This was great. I'm about to watch this again now. Oh, thank you. I'm glad y'all enjoyed it. Please don't forget to like the video, share it with your people. This was a good one. I enjoyed it. I hope y'all did too. And I will see y'all next week. See y'all on Monday. Okay? I hope y'all have a good rest of y'all weekend. And I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.